Well, just 2 days left in Minnesota's legislative session. Lawmakers have until Monday night at midnight to pass bills, but they have already passed so many. These are just some of the bills Governor Tim Walz has signed into law: the catalytic converter theft bill, 100% clean energy by 2040, codifying abortion rights, the conversion therapy ban, the Crown Act, driver's licenses for all, a bill to expand voting access, restore felon voting rights, free school meals for all, make Minnesota a trans refuge state, and 2 gun control measures. Now, these bills are still being worked on or need to be signed. $2.6 billion in infrastructure, education funding and free college, recreational cannabis, child tax credits, rebate checks, Social Security tax cuts, paid family leave, keeping nurses at the bedside act. And Governor Tim Walz joins us right now. I hope that we had that straight about what you signed and what you haven't signed, but it's a lot.
It's a lot. It's a lot aimed at making Minnesota's lives a little easier. It's aimed at making sure that families and those that are doing the work for Minnesota are respected. And I think from meals with kids to making our streets safer to funding our police, those are things that Minnesotans asked us to get done.
There are a lot of reporters like myself who've been stretching to find adjectives to describe what has happened. How would you describe the historic nature and the sweeping nature of this session?
I think it's fulfilling Minnesota's promise. We're a state that's always valued our children. We valued our environment. We've led on so many things, from human rights to innovation. And we didn't even talk about the things that we put in, $500 million on innovation grants that is going to bring some of the most high-tech businesses here. We heard the ambassador to the United States from Finland talk about Minnesota's a state that's doing it right. 4,500 new jobs in April and historic exports. So I think this is fulfilling our promise. It's making sure we're respecting people, we're respecting people's personal freedoms. Women will make their own health care decisions, and we're not going to demonize folks, but we're also going to be on the front end of education.
Not everyone is happy. Republicans say that, there was no input from them. Granted, they had minorities in both houses. But what do you say to people who say this is overreach? And as Republicans say, there will be a reckoning next time the legislature goes.
Well, that's what Republicans worry about. They worry about the next election. They said that last year when they walked away from a deal to help Minnesotans because they thought they were going to win the trifecta. Look, you don't win elections to bank political capital. You win elections to improve lives. And whether it's making sure women have reproductive freedoms, making sure our children have something to eat, making sure the dang roads are fixed and potholes are fixed, those are the things that are at. This legislature and these incredible leaders like Speaker Hortman and Leader Dietzig, they didn't look to, this might hurt politically on this. They said, what is going to help Minnesotans? And as far as the Republicans having an input, they had an opportunity to talk about guns and doing the right thing for years. They never held a single hearing. They've had opportunities to talk about reproductive rights, but we know what they're saying is they're angry because they wanted to ban abortion. They're angry for those things.
A lot of people are waking up to a headline that there is going to be an increase in the gas tax, the first one since I think 2008. Can you explain exactly how much it's going to go up and how it's tied to inflation?
It's indexed to inflation. It'll be about 5 cents over 4 years. And look, funding for roads and bridges is dedicated constitutionally. We don't take it out of the general fund. And we understand that we have the 4th highest amount of road miles in the country. Minnesotans are proud of this system, but it's in disrepair. A bridge like the Blotnick Bridge connecting Superior and Duluth is $1 billion. Federal government, we need to match the dollars that they put in the historic bipartisan infrastructure bill. And this is going to give Minnesotans the opportunity to see a world-class system. We're going to see in the Twin Cities from transit. And this is just going to make life a little bit easier. And those who know this, idling in traffic and breaking your axles on potholes does not save you any money. So we're going to have a modern transportation system. It's about 5 cents. There'll be some fees on new cars, but as your car gets older, those prices go down.
Okay, there's so much here, as you said just before the show. If one of these things had passed, it would have been a big deal, a big session. Want to ask you about what is the one that stands out to you? We talked about this before the show. And I was a little surprised, but tell us what it is.
Well, it's all about making Minnesota the best state for children and families. And I think we're going to see a historic child tax credit that'll lead the world. But I think for me, the moment of how viscerally it came home was the meals in schools and the number of students. We have quite a few that they simply don't get the paperwork in, they don't get it done. And we see a lunchroom that's divided on the haves and have-nots. I think that one, to me, it just feels like the right thing to do.
Well, you also said that you're getting feedback from people who are middle class,
Yeah.
saying they appreciate
Oh,
that.
there's $1 billion in property tax cuts in here, but there's a lot of folks. I saw an editorial from a conservative editorialist in North Dakota say, look, the proposed middle tax cut in North Dakota is less money than it would be for my 2 children in Minnesota to get free school lunch. So Minnesotans are going to see that, whether it's lead lines coming out of their house, whether it's the school lunch program, whether it's property tax relief, whether it's the Social Security cut exempting 80% of Minnesotans. The vast majority of folks, Republicans spent their time arguing that the richest should receive tax cuts. We focused on the middle class.
All right. Let me ask you about the expungement in terms of the marijuana law and the marijuana law. As of August 1st, we'll all be able to have 2 pounds of marijuana in our homes.
Yeah.
But the actual infrastructure for dealing with the sales is not going to be up for another year or year and a half. Is that the right order of doing things?
Yeah, well, first of all, we know that prohibition didn't work. I'm proud of the legislature. I'm proud of Minnesotans overwhelmingly supported this. And what happens on August 1st is you can have it in your possession. We're no longer going to criminalize this. We're going to be working on the expungements to get people back to, where they should have been. And then we will set up the infrastructure to make sure that we're licensing and regulating the dispensaries. We've been working on this for about 4 years, talking to people in Vermont and Colorado. We want to make it a smooth transition. You'll know what you're getting. But I think the biggest thing is that on August 1st, just making sure we're not going to spend precious dollars in our policing focusing on possession of cannabis rather than looking at other crimes we should be working on. So it just takes a little bit of time. We'll implement it. We'll get it in. And I think this is the direction Minnesota wanted us to go.
We've talked about the middle class. There are some tax cuts here that have cutoffs of about $150,000 for couples, including the rebates, also the Social Security tax cut elimination. Is a couple that makes $150,000 really rich?
Well, no, I don't believe they're rich, but I do believe that encompasses about 80% of Minnesotans make less than that, focusing on those children. And those that make at the very bottom are going to see the most. Minnesota's tax code, while those say that at the top they do pay a little more, but our tax code is rated as one of the fairest in the country, meaning that if you're below $150,000, it's much cheaper to live here than it is to live in other places.
Well,
so I'm not going to make...
I think a lot of people know, an awful lot of people, including, you probably know, and I know people who've moved to Florida, to retire. A lot of people
well,
feel
good
that
luck with that. We weren't going to tell you what books you can read and things like that. No, but the fact of the matter is, you go look at this, what Floridans pay on clothing, what they pay on gas tax is higher, what they pay on property tax and insurance. So if you're middle class, if you're retired and you don't have any income other than retirement income, sure, it might be cheaper, but that's not the case.
You don't feel we're overtaxed?
No, I think we have a fair system on this. I think you always have to be aware of that. The people who talk about overtaxing, whereas people pay their fair share, this guilty fee, where a lot of our revenue is going to come from, is implemented in 22 other states. Businesses already doing business there. This is just federal conformity.
All right. In terms of the Nurses by the Bedside Act, you held the line here and you said you wouldn't sign it unless Mayo was exempted. Mayo isn't just Mayo Rochester, and I think we do have a map here of all the locations across southern Minnesota where there are hospitals. Here they are. I think a lot of people didn't realize how big Mayo has gotten. Is that really fair to carve out all of those hospitals, and the other hospitals are saying it's not?
Well, look, Mayo is different. Mayo's, their reach globally, they're teaching hospital, things like that. And if you look at this map, it's no secret to your viewers that I represented this area for 12 years in Congress. I know the Mayo system well, and I also want to make sure that the nurses have supported me, and I've supported them because it is a noble, valuable profession, and what they're asking for is some input into this. I asked with Mayo to get the exemption for us to go back and spend some time looking at what we can do to make this a little better. We're still having that conversation with the other systems, but I hope viewers know this is politics makes us choose black hat, white hat, right, wrong. In this case, these are healthcare providers and systems and dedicated nurses all trying to come to the right position to care for patients. That's what we're trying to do.
All right, education spending, really groundbreaking here. Free college for low-income kids, and also for K through 12, an enormous infusion of cash, including $2.2 billion in new spending, 4% per pupil increase. I think there are a lot of parents out there who want to know that 4% increase is going to go to their kid to help them catch up
Yep.
because they've gotten behind the past few years.
Call your school boards and superintendents. This is where we work on this. These are local control. And look, we've moved away from the Minnesota Miracle in '73. We wanted to make this the new Minnesota Miracle 2.0. And the way that thing worked is we moved away from property tax being the #1 funder. This will hopefully reduce your dependence on property tax. For greater Minnesota schools that don't have as broad a property tax base, this is going to make sure there's money there to be infused into the classroom to make sure we can keep and retain the best teachers.
All right, we also have another graphic on education that talks about they're requiring a finance class. Where has this been?
Yeah.
And also the READ Act, which there's a suggestion. I'm interested in your input in this because you obviously are a teacher.
Yeah.
Have we been teaching, what I've read about this is that we've been teaching kids the wrong way to read? Is that right?
I don't think
here?
that's the characterization of it. When I was teacher training in the late 80s, I had to take a class on reading in the content area. I'm a geography teacher, but I had to talk about how do you teach reading to different students. Some students have, whether it's dyslexia, and there are certain interventions that work to help them. There's other interventions when 18% of our students have parents who do not speak English at home. And what this READ Act does, it gives teachers a smorgasbord and the training necessary to be able to go into that. It's not that we were blanketly not training it. We were just not focusing, giving the resources, the money, and the time to the teachers to be able to get that out there.
All right. What about this notion that you and Democrats will be paying at the polls in 2024 and 2026?
Well, the voters will decide that, but I think if you're going...
Do you think the voters are with you?
Oh, yes, they are. And 80% of people plus are for the smart gun moves we made. They're for paid family and medical leave. They're for women's reproductive rights. They're for fixing the roads. These are not extreme positions. Extreme positions are the elimination of Social Security you're seeing from Republicans, debt ceiling fiascos, the underfunding of our schools, the idea that we would privatize them. So no, they want to make that case. But Minnesotans are going to see life improves for them. We see these things fixed. We see the decriminalization of marijuana. All of those things are things Minnesotans ask for.
Is there one thing that people bring up to you more than others to say that they like what's going on or they don't like what's going on?
Well, certainly the reproductive rights piece, but right now it does seem to be cannabis. They may be the people I'm hanging around with or something. I don't know. I see them at that. But no, I just think it's things that they think are smart. But the one that resonates and the ones that I hear across the country were the things we're doing for kids. And I think this idea of not demonizing, of protecting students, and then the food program. I mean, there's pretty iconic picture for me. I get a little bit, teared up over this, that I got into this business to try and improve lives. And the voters will decide when that comes. But that moment when these students recognized what was happening was really moving for me.
You mean when they all give you a big hug?
Yeah.
I don't think we've got that video, but I know exactly what you're talking about.
It just meant to me, and it's someone, I've been in the classroom around kids, I'm comfortable with this, but just the idea that they understood it, they listened to the adults speak about all children being able to eat, and these kids were so happy for their classmates, and it just, for me, it symbolizes what this session was about, improving their lives.
Well, Governor Tim Walz, thank you so much for coming by. Thank you also to the First Lady who's here in studio. We really appreciate it.
Thanks so much, Esme.